concerns you the most?
They're difficult to score on. They not only have great length, but they are athletic, and they work hard on the defensive end. And that's probably the most, if there is a concern, we have to make sure that we come down and execute and get good shots.
Any different than what you've seen the past few years?
They're different personnel, but same idea. They don't have Nick Johnson or Aaron Gordon this year, but they've added Stanley Johnson, and relatively speaking, well, when we played them, they had Brandon Ashley last year, but Brandon was out for some of the games. He's obviously back. But Arizona is going to defend very well. They're going to crash the offensive glass, and they're going to be very disciplined on offense.
Anything you can do? I know you're still missing your bigs. Anything you can do to improve the rebounding?
We improved a little bit last game against Oregon State, but at the same time, we just have to make sure that we rebound by committee. We can't leak out depending on one or two guys to get the rebound. All five guys have to come back and rebound on the defensive end. And then offensively, we have to work a little harder to get to the glass ourselves, to come up with some offensive goals.
Where is Jernard at right now, coming back from the surgery?
He's getting close. He's starting to participate in a couple of drills here and there. So, we would think by Washington State he should be back for sure.
No chance this weekend?
I can't say no chance, but right now, if I had to say, I'd probably say it could. Like I said earlier, the more you gain your strength, the more you gain your confidence, things can happen just like that. But in this case right now, I don't think he's quite ready to go out there. But we practice again today. Each day is different.
Can you talk a little bit about Darren Johnson? I mean, players are always just looking for a shot or an opportunity. He's definitely got one in front of him. Is he ready to step up and grab hold of it?
Yeah, he's improved a lot on the defensive end with us. He's doing that. He's definitely made some progress. And, he's been in there, I think, 2 of the 3 or 4 games he's been in there, he's been double-digit scorer. So, he has to keep making progress.
What specifically do you want to see from him over the next few weeks?
Continue to defend and rebound and play with the maximum effort. And that might be number one, play with a maximum effort. Plays with a maximum effort, he has the tools to get a lot done on basketball.
Coach J.J. McConnell, can you talk about what he does for them? I mean, he's such a good player defensively. He runs the show there a lot.
He's out there in front, and he gives them a strong belief, for starters. He's defending the ball. He's stealing the ball from other teams' post players. He's got quick hands. He plays with a certain level of confidence out there that can inspire his group. He's, I think, second to our Nigel Williams-Goss in assists in our league. So, he distributes the ball. As of late, he scored a lot of points. He's one of those guards that's kind of been giving them whatever they need from game to game.
That matchup with Nigel, is that going to be the one that's focused on in terms of, or are they going to switch around a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be different guys throughout the game. You'll look at Andrew Andrews, Mike Anderson, I mean, different guys.
The turnovers for Nigel lately, I think he had 6 against Oregon State. I mean, is that a case of him trying to do a little too much, knowing that you need guys to step up offensively, or what do you kind of see from that?
We had 9 turnovers as a team the game before that, and against Cal, 7 turnovers. So that hasn't been happening. Every now and then he'll have a game where there's some turnovers, but I just thought that particular game was a game where he had more turnovers than he or anyone would have liked. And a couple of those are marked as his turnovers, but guys didn't catch the ball and they gave him the turnover. But yeah, I won't even say he needs to cut his turnovers down because his turnovers aren't up. In that game they were. But like I said, as a team we had 9 and 7. And again, Nigel leads our league in assists. He leads the entire league in assists. So with that, I look at more assist-turnover ratio. If a guy had 5 turnovers a game, that would not be a problem with me. If he had assists or 15 assists. He's doing pretty good. 5 turnovers a game and you're getting 1 or 2 assists a game, that's not good. So,
As a team coming off a game where you had 22 turnovers and then going against a team that's as good defensively as Arizona is, how much of a concern is that, cleaning that up from one game to the next?
I wouldn't say it's a concern because that hasn't, I think we turned it over 19 times against Stanford on the road in the first week of conference. Other than that, you look at our turnovers, 12, 13, 11, 7, 9. It hasn't been a big concern. In the Oregon State game, it was bad. And our turnovers, even if there are 11, too many of them lead to baskets. So that's the other thing. As a team, you may say, okay, well, like I just did, where you only had 9 turnovers, but 8 of those turnovers led to layups, direct layups. Well, that's a problem. I'd be more concerned with how we're turning the ball over as opposed to the number, because our numbers haven't been high. Oregon State game, they were high. Far too many. We did not do a very good job. We had multiple guys turning the ball over. But if you look at the pattern, we haven't done that much.
And in like these past few days, have you since had all that the belief has wavered some, and have you had to sort of pump these guys up a little bit to just maybe not get so down on themselves, or to not focus on kind of what is kind of going on, but just the next play, next practice, next game?
In hindsight, I felt that way one game. The first game that we had lost, Robert Upshaw, against Stanford here. I felt like we were just kind of in a fall when we were playing. We just weren't right. And I think since that game, we lost at the buzzer, almost at the buzzer, close to it. We had a chance to win at Oregon. Oregon State returned it over too many times, but I didn't feel like we went on there without a belief. I haven't sensed that with our team, a lack of belief.
What about identity? Does this team understand how they need to play to get wins?
We don't yet. We're working on it. And hopefully our identity has to be one of grit. And like I said earlier, we've got to be a blue-collar team right now. We've got to regain our defensive identity. Those things.
Is there anything you can take?
We've made a little progress there, but it's not where it needs to be. Right?
Sorry, is there anything you can take from Arizona State's the way they attacked Arizona last weekend?
They made 7 threes or 9 threes. I know that. That helped them. But don't take a whole lot from that game because they play an entirely different way than we play. Arizona lost to Oregon State also. Oregon State plays an entirely different way than we play. I think the first question that was asked of me is what made me concerned or whatever. I said, we got to make shots. We got to find a way to score. And Arizona State made a bunch of threes. That helped them. Not that we have to make a bunch of threes, although I take it for sure. But we just have to be able to take good shots and make baskets.
In these past 2 games, do you have a sense of what's going on with Dorsey, and is it just a matter of him adjusting to a new role, new responsibilities?
Probably, he's done well shooting the ball from the three-point stripe, and I think teams, when they scout, they make sure they don't leave him. When we played Oregon, the last possession that we had, they substituted to put a guy on Donovan Dorsey, and you could just tell, they said, look, you stay right with him and you don't leave him no matter what. And that's a credit to Donovan because other teams respect him, but it makes it a little harder for him to get decent looks because they're just all over.
Arizona's, it's always a big game. I saw on Twitter, Quincy says he's going to hop on a plane and come back. Tell us a little bit about, just not only for your team, but just some of your former players in Arizona. What does this mean to the program?
When our guys always have looked forward to playing against Arizona in the past. That's for sure. Arizona, and that's a credit to them because of their success and their high profile. And a lot of players, they want to know, they'll just say, hey, when you guys play Arizona, that's what I want to come to, that type of deal. So they know what type of games have taken place when us at Arizona have played in the past. I mean, even more recently, we had, was it 3 years in a row, every game, 2 years in a row, every game was decided by a buzzer beater of some kind of way, or a block shot at the end to prevent a buzzer beater. So there's been some exciting games over the years.
Lorenzo, when you're struggling a little bit like this, how do you deal with sort of the outside criticism, the noise, as coaches call it? I mean, do you ignore it? Do you try to rally guys around it? Do you just walk out completely?
I think the biggest thing is to try to not allow it to affect the players. As coaches, you kind of know, that's what you sign up for. If you start to drop a few, you're going to hear your fair share of criticism. The players that play college basketball, that for some of them, this is the first time they've been criticized in their lives. And we told them earlier that you're going to hear a lot of negativity. You're going to hear a lot of people saying you won't win another game, you're not going to be able to accomplish this or that. So you can't concentrate on those things. Because the same people, a lot of the same people were saying this year you may go to the Final Four when we're 11-0. So you can't just, like I've said before, John Wooden, never forget what he says. When you're being criticized, don't get too down because you're probably better than people think. And when you're getting praised because you're doing well, don't get a big head because you're probably not as good as people are saying you are. Just kind of work hard, earn your own confidence by doing the right thing, and go out there and play.
Is there just any, though, sense of urgency now, just with these 7 games left, that if you're going to do what you want to do, that it needs to happen now?
Oh, there's no doubt. We don't have another 10 games. I mean, we've gotten 7 games, and we have 2 home games coming here. I mean, we're talking about getting in that large bid in the NCAA tournament. We have to make our move. There's not a whole lot of margin for error in that regard. But fortunately for us, the game in front of us is as big as anyone, and it's against the number 7 ranked team in the country, and it's not a fluke. They're good. So the timing of it in terms of urgency is right here. There are a number of reasons why.
And just how important is this game? I have a feeling I think I know, but just how big is this one? I'm sure it's not any bigger than the next one, but just.
This one is the biggest game of the year.
I couldn't think of a better way to phrase it.
You should have sat here and I should have sat there, and you would have answered that for me. But
Or would you have asked that question?
what's that?
Would you have asked that question?
I probably would have. It would have been my job to ask that question if I was sitting over there. So I would have asked that question. Yeah. We have, every team that plays Arizona feels like, well, you can come out on top in this one, we can make a lot of noise, be an impact on postseason and all that. So, yeah, it's big. But again, if it were a team that wasn't doing very well, we'd say the same thing. There are a number of reasons why this next game is a big one. It's the next one, and it's a great team you're playing against, and it's an opportunity for us to really start to feel good about ourselves.
You said on the radio a couple of days ago that your guys' identity needs to be blue-collar, gritty. When was the last time you saw that from your team?
In different parts of our last game, but it wasn't our identity. It's your identity, that's what you do. That's your standard. You can't be a buffet where you pick and choose when it's going to be your identity. You have to do it the entire time. And I have to look back. I can't think of the last time we did that 40 minutes, probably Stanford at Stanford. What I would say.
You've never had, after a run of success, had a season turn quite like this, like it has the last 12 games, and then mixed in with the loss of Shaw. Is this a new challenge for you? Is this something that you haven't quite come across at Washington?
Closest we came to this was 2007. We were 11-1, or 10-1 in preseason, and I think we started out 1-6 in conference play. I think. And we ended up 8-10 in the league. So that was there was some similarities there. We didn't lose a couple of our best players, or like I continue to say it's we talk about Upshaw, but Jannard Giroux has been out also. He was a starter on Boris, second leading rebounder. But no, this definitely hasn't been something that we've had a whole lot of training for over the years. But me in particular, I wasn't the McDonald's All-American type, and this probably wasn't always an underdog for me myself. So I always look at these challenges as challenges to go out and see if we can beat it.
Coach,
Two more guys.
have you had a chance to touch bases in the last couple of weeks with Robert? How's he doing? What's he up to?
Yeah, he's hanging in there. Yeah, he's hanging in there. And he has a positive outlook.